Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PGL Major Krakow 2017 and welcome to the grand final. It is finally here after 8 days of competition. We've had just about everything, haven't we? A little bit of controversy, some drama, and surprises aplenty. We have the surprise final as well. Gambit Gaming, or Gambit Esports as they like to be called now, versus Immortals, going head-to-head over 3 maps in front of a capacity crowd. And I'm sure they'll be cheering, despite the fact that they did lose the crowd favourites yesterday. Talking of which, let's take a trip down memory lane to day 2.
Previously on the PGL Major Krakow 2017.
Chance to just equalize the score. Oh, he's heading right at the edge of the smoke. Config doesn't know it. Snacks trying to sneak up behind him. Config not really aware of what's going on yet. This could be a lost AK very quick, and the timing here is favoring Snacks. And is he really going to go for the knife? Oh my God! He takes down Config with a knife in the quarterfinals with everything on the line. It is not looking good. They're trying to see if they can get down, but they're standing on top of the fire and getting shot through the smoke. And Bialy here to block them off with a smoke, waiting. Cajun goes down. Bialy again, he does it with a third coming in, and that's the quad kill.
The Astralis side of readying a push in. They've got the grenades starting to sail in. Glaive going for the entry, able to catch one. That's about 5 frags in a single second. Absolute madness here. Mo gets himself 2. A third from Mo. Not going to stop anytime soon here. Ah, there it is, number 4.
So now the side can be pinched by Astralis.
Yeah, the Astralis starting to march in here. It's looking very overwhelming. Dozier gets himself 2 though, and it could be more. Indeed it will. A third headshot found as Hobbit now swoops in to save the day. That's a fantastic tap there from Dupree. What else has he got in store? Nothing. It looks like Mo to respond to. Absolute chaos here on the B-bomb site.
He stressed the importance of this pistol round. It will go the way of Gambit.
Bialy that goes down, fast play from KNG to go for the flank. Snacks has to shut them both down, and he might. Oh, he might indeed! How does Snacks always find position? He is so sneaky.
Pasha though, 4 versus 1. We'll see if he can do anything with this. Bombs down and connected. There's the first kill, something to build upon, but I'm not believing just yet. Up against the double orbs, and all right, now we've got a chance.
Has the sight to work with. Lucas, oh, just barely goes under the crosshair. Walks in when he looks away. What a shot! What a shot from Pasha, 6 HP, plants as open as he possibly dare in the sight. And how does he choose to approach it? Stay on the AK because an AWP was down. He's gonna go all the way back through vents. Henny just came from there. Henny's gonna have no idea. Smoke goes onto it, he's not peeking it yet. Pasha needs patience, Henny spotted. He knows he's not on it, gets him in the open! Goes to the smoke, Taz goes to the smoke, he won't find it, it's done! Immortals! From a minor to a major final. A Brazilian team will be in the grand final of a major again, but it's not SK. It's the Twins and the King who's carried them through. And hearts break. Virtus Pro, what a run, but they cannot go further.
They fought brave and hard all the way through to the semi-finals, but just fell one step short of the grand final, unfortunately for Virtus.pro. We are left with Immortals versus Gambit. It is the surprise major. Two teams that didn't stand a chance, according to most of the experts at the start of this. Maybe they could have got into the quarters, but no one predicted this grand final, including the two men alongside me, and through no fault of their own. Yanko and Moses join me for the grand final. Gents, it's the surprise final. It's the one that no one could have predicted.
It's an exciting final, though, because we have two teams who have spent so long with players on these teams trying to get to this point. I mean, Zeus obviously coming from Navi, the heartbreak there. You know, Immortals emerging finally from SK's shadow in the Brazilian scene. They've been spent so long as the second best team. Now they've taken them over, at least in this one tournament. This is phenomenal stuff coming into this match.
That's the key things about this final, isn't it, Yanko? You do have that, as Jason said, that Zeus kind of. You know, I just wonder how much Navi players are sitting back home going, maybe we made a bit of a mistake
They knew they made a mistake a long while ago.
Yeah, maybe they did. But also on the other side is the Immortals players have always been considered a feeder team without being rude about them for the SK lineup. Now, they've broken out of the shadow here. Regardless of what happens, they've made the major final.
Yeah, and it's amazing that, you know, this is a team that's been struggling to just make the majors for a very long time, even though, you know, they were among maybe not the top 10, but the top 15 at least. A lot of people felt they deserved a place there. But if this major has shown anything, there's no such thing as deserves to win or deserves to be placed here and there. You have to fight for it. You have to earn it. And Immortals have definitely earned their spot in this grand final.
I mean, that's the thing about both teams, right? They've played good Counter-Strike through this tournament. They've beaten very good teams who have been, you know, won tournaments over the last few months. And yet these guys somehow have found it within themselves to go up against that. Immortals yesterday against Virtus.pro, against the crowd, against them. Still managed to come through brilliantly. Gambit, same thing, playing Astralis, defending champions. Especially
being as if you're Gambit, they did it without like Adren being this explosive player that he was through the group stage. He's, you know, Adren's the sole reason they got to the playoffs, and then everyone else kind of stepped up around that. And Astralis is a very difficult team to beat because you can't just beat them with skills, you can't just beat them with tactics. You have to have the whole package. And at least for this moment, you know, I mentioned it last night when we were closing on the broadcast. Both these teams have just found the perfect time to peak as lineups. And at the moment, Gambit, I mean, that's just amazing what we've seen out of them. The level of play they brought into this tournament after an atrocious boot camp by their own admission is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think Adren told me privately they didn't win a single practice match in the 2 weeks leading up to the major. It's incredible.
That's just insane. Even by a fluke, you would win some at least.
You got to win one, right?
Listen, generally, we could sit here and say, yes, practice results don't really matter that much. You know, you're trying out new things, perhaps changing things. You shouldn't really look to it. But if you're really having such a terrible practice run leading up to the major, how do you come in with confidence, right? And I think that's why it was very important for Gambit to get off to a good start. You know, if Gambit loses their first game, they might go out 0-3. You know, in a world where they get tilted, you know, they get angry towards each other. We know how, you know, these CIS teams can get very, very emotional. So I think it was that strong start and them getting a 3-0 and then just building off of that.
Players getting ready backstage to come into the arena. Just very quickly, while we get the opportunity before the grand final starts, quick reflection back on the tournament as a whole. How's it been for you?
It's been, I mean, it's been very fun. Obviously, these upsets are kind of interesting. I mean, it's a bummer seeing some of the teams that you want. Like, I mean, that Astralis Virtus.pro rematch was looking good for a while.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Cloud9.
would have been nice to have them on the stage for at least a game. It happens, Paul. We're used to it by now. But I mean, you know, the SK Astralis matchup. There's been so many good matchups that we've had in the first half of the year, and the crazy thing is, they're like we only get one of them because I mean, you think FaZe and the matchups they've had with both SK and Astralis in grand finals have been epic, and they didn't even make it to the playoffs. So this major has just been very interesting. It's like throwing everything out the window that we thought we knew coming in.
Full of surprises, Paul.
That's why we've nicknamed it. We've nicknamed it the surprise major. We've had the Tech9 major, we've had the NIP major, we've had the Fnatic major. This one's the surprise one. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your chairs, raise the roof of the Krakow Arena once more, and welcome your two grand finalists.
I think that some things happen in your life for a reason. I mean, of course, I would love to be legendary like them.
Lucas is hot on the flank, though. Bomb not yet planted. If he times this, he could easily take down the planter. He's got to be careful with his aim, and he's followed it up. resets it and goes back for next.
The platform, and Eddie, he finds another kill as well. Takes two! This is falling apart for me. He's up to top 3 on 15 HP. The bomb has not been planted. Surely he can't do it. And it's Henny who steps up just when they need him. 3 kills in the round.
But again, the next, a chance to work with a man advantage and the HP of Steel, but Steel goes overlooked. Timing everything. Timing off for Lucas as he looks the wrong way. KNG gets back in position. Another 2 plays from the secondary office. Keith goes back out. He can't get around the corner. It's shut down. 10-3. And he can control it. Taz goes to the smoke. Taz goes to the smoke. He won't find it. It's done.
Welcome on stage, Immortals.
We got something special, we got some major magic. I want to thank everyone who will support us in the future. Thank you guys, we feel your support.
There's 3 kills for the team. It falls apart in a crossfire on the side, trying to delay the spray. It will be good enough. What a hero play from Mo.
He's to be on his mark as well with the AWP. JW. Oh my goodness, Hobbit with 3. Yeah, the Strata starting to march in here. It's looking very overwhelming. Dozier gets himself 2 though, and it could be more. Indeed it will.
Welcome on stage, Gambit Esports.
Here we go then. The grand final is almost set. Players will return to their booths. We'll discuss the various merits of Gambit and Immortals, their road and path to the grand final as they get ready for the vetoes and the start of our first map of the grand final. Best of 3, remember, and this $1 million major will be underway as far as the grand final is concerned. Janko, we'll start with Gambit and talk about their run through first of all, because it has been an impressive run. You know, even before the semi-finals and playing Astralis, it was still a good run.
I mean, they only lost 1 map so far in this tournament. That was the Inferno game versus Astralis, and they had, difficult opponents. Even when you look at the group stages, Mousesports first, G2, Virtus Pro, then the Fnatic, which did look rejuvenated a little bit in this tournament in the quarterfinals, and obviously the defending champions Astralis in the semis. And Adren is the highest-rated player of the team, but it didn't feel like he was carrying the team through those playoff games. It felt more like he had great games in the group stages. It was more of a team effort. Dosha and Zeus having a great game in the quarterfinal. I think that's one of the main reasons why Gambit is becoming a serious contender, and why they're in the grand finals, because Doja stepped up his game in a sense that, to me, like early in 2017, he was a bit of a liability. Maybe towards the end of 2016, couldn't get the kills that he needed to. But now he stepped up his game. He's winning a couple of clutches for the team every now and then, and that's allowing everyone else to play with a little less pressure.
And we focus on the good stuff. Is Adren, obviously. Funny you pick up Dozy, because he's the lowest rated player in this grand final. He's 42nd on the HLTV list for the major. Not terrible, because he's at 1.02. He's had a positive influence on the team. But you feel like maybe if he has a good game today, that could be the difference between the two teams.
Absolutely, and part of it is you even saw yesterday of just any one player stepping up. We saw it with Immortals as well, but even on Gambit side of things, it was Mo against Astralis who just has one good game. Because you don't necessarily need those players like Doja, like Mo, to carry you through the series. You need them to get you one map, right? Yep. It's the guys like Adren, the guys like Hobbit and Zeus' Calling that are going to carry you through the 3-map series. You just need them for the little extra at times when you're struggling. And I mean, especially Doja's playstyle. I mean, just a little, not the most cerebral player, not the most aggressive player, but he does play. You know, he kind of is that anchor. He gets a lot of impact kills when bomb sites are taken. He's very important to get kills in that role, at least the damage being dealt. And if he comes up big, the defense of the CT sides for Gambit are going to go well. There's
only one player in this grand final, Yanko, that has experience of playing in a grand final. He's done it twice before with Na'Vi. Both times ended up on the wrong side of the match, and this is third time the charm, I guess, for Zeus. But with that in-game leadership, and obviously we saw in the semi-final, he's quite happy to take an in-game timeout during a round as well. Brilliantly done, great execution. He's got the team playing the way he wants it, and he's got that experience to pass on to the other four in the grand final.
And he's got the authority, right? When he talks, the rest of the team is quiet and they listen. And they do whatever needs to be done, and that's definitely important for any team. We've been talking about the resurgence of tactical Counter-Strike and the importance of in-game leaders, and Zeus hasn't been slouching in the fragging department either. That last game, I already mentioned him in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals yesterday on that last map on Train. I think he was even top fragging for the team, so that's something that you really don't expect from him. And the thing is, when Zeus does it, he's usually at times the guy going in first, or the guy sacrificing himself for the team so the rest of the players can do their thing. So if he has a good game, means he's creating a lot of space.
That's exactly what I was going to say about Zeus, is not only in the games against Astralis, on that Train game specifically, when Astralis is making this run and their T-side is just getting bogged down, not only does he find out what needs to be adjusted, but he adjusts it, and then he's the one who lead the way in the change-up. He's the one who comes down ladder. I mean, they started to figure out that they had to get ladder room taken care of on the T-side. They had to flush Dupree out of there, and Zeus is the one who comes running down first to eliminate him. So just taking the reins of his own kind of tactical prowess.
Moving over to the Immortals team. They are the second Brazilian team, of course, to play in the grand final. Two of these players, of course, have played at a major, but the other three are playing in their first major. They can effectively do what Taco did in SK's, or as the Luminosity as they were back then, when they won his first ever major. So they can replicate that. There are three in the team, of course. But I guess the one we focus on is this man on the screen right now, Henny. We expect good AWPing from him, Yanko. We expect him to be in the right place at the right time. Hasn't always happened. He's actually their lowest rated player at the major so far.
Yeah, that's the thing with him. He's very inconsistent as an AWPer, but the problem is for the opponents, once he has a good game, it's usually a really, really good game. And actually yesterday's map against Virtus Pro, the Mirage game, was actually one of the weird games where Henny was just consistent, like not super flashy, you know, just getting a couple of kills every other round or so, breaking apart VP's default and so on. And I think that's what you need from an AWPer first and foremost, and then everything else is a bonus.
Who else do you see as a key player? Because KNG's also picked up that AWP, and they love this two AWP setup on both sides, it seems.
They kind of have to with AWPers with players that both like to AWP and are both effective with it. But the one good thing about KNG is we've also seen he can do it with rifles as well. So you normally see him pass up on the AWP if Henny needs it. I think there's two players that one of them needs to step up, and it's Boltz and Lucas. And we've seen both of them do it at different times during this event, and that's all they need. It's just one of them. But you do need those riflers in front of the AWPers. You do need them having success. You cannot just rely on the AWPers to be able to find you picks, to start opening up bomb sites from range. Because if you're doing that, the AWP is just one of those weapons where you can't be so aggressive with it in terms of how you swarm a bomb site. You have to kind of rely on a mistake being made by the opposition, and that's not always going to happen. So you need the AK-47s. You need the guys like Boltz and Lucas, and even Steel, who's been phenomenal, even as an in-game leader, pushing into the sites.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, a very, very apparent thing about Immortals, so to speak, is yesterday they were a different team. Like, we've never seen Immortals so composed, so focused. They just seemed like they know what they want to do. They have a clear game plan, and the only thing we're going to focus on is executing it. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, not get too emotional, forget about all the banter and, you know, jumping on our seats when we clutch around. Let's just keep our eyes on the prize, which is winning this series against VP, which is going to be extremely difficult. And that Immortals is way more dangerous than the Immortals we see previous. You know, the Immortals which are emotional, they, you know, live or die by those emotions, and if things start going wrong, like for example that Pasha 1v4 we saw yesterday, that they might just tilt after that round, and the game can fall apart for them.
Do you think that was a little bit to respect towards Virtus.pro and the crowd yesterday as well? They wanted to keep that calm.
Maybe a little bit, but I think that's just been the goal that they've had. I mean, Steele mentioned it in the major qualifier. I mean, even back then he was saying we need to find a way to not rely on our emotions. We need to find a way to keep ourselves centered. And you're kind of seeing that. And at the time, he was kind of just questioning, like, I don't really know how to do it because we've always played this way. And it takes all 5 players to buy into that kind of thing. And it's still okay to let some of those emotions out. It just has to be much more measured. Like Yanko said, it's not like the getting out of your chair and yelling in the booths or trying to let him hear you across the stage. But that is the Immortals that's dangerous, and that kind of calmness and that kind of mental focus in these high pressure situations, that is the next step of progression into becoming a great team.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things about them is you kind of like them for that as well. They kind of draw you in a little bit, don't they? And I feel like the crowd might like them to do that today as well. So we'll see what we get. The vetoes are almost here. Let's turn our attention to the map pool here.
Yeah, I think this is where the vetoes are. I was going to say, yeah, they are pretty clear cut. This is Nuke ban for Immortals, Gambit vetoes Mirage. And this is where for picks it can get a little bit interesting, because I think if it weren't for that game against Astralis yesterday, Immortals would have picked Overpass straight away, because Gambit hasn't really played it that much. But after that performance versus Astralis, very dominating one from Gambit, Immortals actually go for Cobblestone, which is very interesting, seeing as how it is one of Gambit's best maps. Right? They were notorious for being undefeated on it for a very long time. Gambit goes into Train. They've been picking it throughout the tournament. They seem to be comfortable on the map no matter what. And this is when you look towards the decider. We have Cash, Inferno, and Overpass left. Gambit vetoes Cash, not really that surprising.
I think it's going to be Inferno.
And Immortals, yeah, you would assume they were going to go for Inferno after that game versus Astralis yesterday from Gambit.
Yeah, it seems to be a big favorite pick of Immortals is that Inferno, that they quite like that map. I think this is a little bit dicey in the sense that this leaves it very open for a Gambit 2-0 just because their Cobble is so good. If they can steal Immortals' opening pick, that can be heartbreaking, because yeah, the Gambit is incredibly good on this map. This is one of the maps that when they were struggling to win best of 3 series, it's because people just banned Cobblestone and they just never got to play it, because that was like the one map that they could just beat everyone on. So, you know, the fact that Immortals is picking it into them, that's a big risk. It's a lot of confidence from Immortals in their Cobblestone.
It is, isn't it? Very ballsy. We've spoken about the players and players on either side and their strengths and weaknesses and whatever. We haven't really covered the 2 teams' strengths and weaknesses, and I guess this is the ultimate, isn't it? It's one very strategic team versus a very kind of chaotic, in-your-face, run-and-gun style that they've got. But they can be tactical if they need to be.
Yeah, I think Gambit is the better team here. I think they play a better brand of Counter-Strike. I think Immortals have less ways of winning the game. But we saw Immortals yesterday, it's fully aware of that, and having like a clear way that they can play the game, focusing on executing that game plan. And when it works, it looks great for them. They decide to use their individual players. They go for a lot of contact plays, mostly fast-paced play, right? Trying to brute force their way into bomb sites, and they just played with a lot of aggression. You couldn't see any fear in their game.
Zach said to me this morning when we were coming in, walked in with the coach this morning, he said, we just want revenge for DreamHack. I mean, it's like, why is that on their mind?
DreamHack
Open Austin in May. Gambit 1-2-0. It was on Inferno and Train. And that's in the back of their mind. They actually have this. We didn't like the fact that we got our backsides handed to us at that tournament.
I don't think they're thinking about that tournament whatsoever. I mean, maybe the revenge factor but that's where it stops, right?
A little bit sweeter.
That's where it ends. Definitely they're thinking of that trophy in the middle of the stage at the moment and how they want to lift that. I think it's going to be tough, because if Immortals is going to, we know they like this double op setup, but once you start getting into the tactics, once you see the ability of Zeus to adjust in the mid-round like we saw against Astralis, one of the best teams in the world, you figure he's going to have something up his sleeve here. And the great thing about a tactical team, about a double op setup, is since you're so organized and so structured, you have a plan going in of how you want to neutralize where these oppers are going to be. You're going to have the smokes up in place place. You're going to have the flashbangs coming through. You can get close, and that's going to allow you, even if you're not winning rounds, but to grind down the economy. You can prevent that double up from coming out because those tactical styles is always going to get you, a kill or two here or there.
What do you think is going through Zeus's mind right now as they go into the huddle on the Immortals side? Zeus sits in his third final. He's been here before. Hasn't won either of the previous two with arguably a better team, and sits on the verge of a chance here at winning a major.
Probably more confident this time around than ever, right? Considering, how well his team is playing at the moment and how Immortals, you could have faced a tougher opponent in this grand final. You look at that team and you can see some clear ways that you can exploit their flaws, especially when you look at the map. Well, I think Immortals should have left Cobblestone for a third map. I think they should have gone for Inferno as the pick, because now you're in danger if you don't get a good start. Gambit has multiple ways of coming back into the game, right? They're one of the few teams that does a very good job of getting reads on the CT side, doing some mid-round aggression, pop flashing, getting map information, and so on. You feel like for Immortals, it's going to be mostly about, on the T side, about those B executes, right? And getting those entry kills that Jason was talking about from the riflers, and then posting up in the after-plan situation.
All right, hold on a second, because we're going to bring in the commentary team. We're also making history with these two men as well today. They're casting their first ever grand final at a major, and I have to say, I'm absolutely thrilled for you both.
Thank you so much, Paul. Truth be told, he's done one before, but it's the first we've done as a duo. It does mean a lot. It's the culmination of a lot of hard work, but so too for these teams. And again, a final no one would have predicted. This is incredible to see these two teams here.
It's the surprise major, and who knows what's going to happen in the grand final.
I have no idea. I think if Immortals play like they did yesterday and keep the aggression on, Gambit's going to have a tough time.
Yeah, I think if KNG turns up especially, that guy is playing nuts right now. Him and Henny, quite a formidable duo, I would say, but Gambit, they've looked amazing all tournament. Taking down the likes of Astralis as well, that's no easy feat. I would say they're the favourites overall, but Immortals could cause an upset here, I think.
Well, enjoy the final and take us into game number one, gents.
Thank you so much. We certainly will. It's going to be awesome. 15,000 fans yesterday cheered for Virtus.pro when Immortals took them down. I know that there's going to be support for that and respect for that, but it's a divided crowd out here for sure. And Gambit, rightfully so, has earned their place here. They've lost one map so far on the route to the final.
Yeah, they've looked so good. They've taken on the likes of G2, Virtus.pro, Fnatic, Astralis, some big names here. And this is a team that had question marks around them coming into this tournament. It was difficult to imagine them getting to the playoffs. I would say, yeah, they would be my wildcard pick, if anything, and they made it, and they're now the grand final. We hadn't even seen this team compete in a big tournament in months. They've been, not really present online whatsoever at all as well, but coming back, the old legend Zeus has done it again. And I remember when he tweeted, when he left Na'Vi, right? Remember that tweet he made? He goes, I will not quit until I win a major. And
we've heard it.
He could do it this time. He's actually got a good chance of making it happen.
I would say as good a chance as he ever had on Na'Vi. Yeah. In fact, the last good chance he had on Na'Vi was obviously in Columbus, and they just didn't turn up in the final. Guardian obviously had wrist issues at the time. I don't know if that's a factor or not. I don't really read into it. I know there was something there, but this is incredible. The story there is you're right. He left Na'Vi, an organization that he was loyal to for a long period of time. He has a rich history with Na'Vi.
Absolutely.
And when he went to Gambit, joined in roughly the same time as Hobbit, and I wasn't sure what to make of it. I thought, okay, it's fan favorite, obviously, Doja, but it's prolonging a career that perhaps didn't have much legs left. And it goes to show you his leadership is incredible to bring them to where they are. And, I mean, look, he's not the first player to say, I'm not quitting until I win a major, but he actually might do it.
It just resonated with me so much. He's been such a big name within Na'Vi as well. You'd expect the amount of time he's playing between here since the beginning of CSGO, you thought you'd have one by now, but not with this lineup. I did not expect it to be this particular five, that be potentially winning a major. Just to know on Immortals as well, right? A team that's never been to a major before, Matthew. How crazy is that? Now they're in the grand final. They took down Virtus.pro yesterday 2-0. They look amazing.
Yep, the double op setup for them has worked very, very well, which is something you have to focus on as well because it requires such good economy and good starts. They've had early pistols just about every time they've played CT since we've seen them in the playoffs. But more importantly than that, you have to look back to say, look, they failed 4 times to get here. It took 4 times to get here. And to go all the way through and have Brazil completely behind them on this because SK goes out. I know Fallen's here. I know all of SK is here. I know they've been cheering them on. They're going to want this more than ever, especially for this man, Bolts, who, as with Steel, was removed. I guess not most recent removals, but the last shuffle in a full effect, you could say. The FNX thing's a little bit different, but that SK had. And again, similar to Zeus, goes down to what was essentially at the time the B team. Well, I think they've outgrown the shadow of SK at this point, and they are a team in their own right. They deserve to be here. And I've been very impressed with KNG coming on board.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing FNX, their arguably best player. He's come in and looked amazing. I can confirm, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start. Are you guys ready out there? Is there some noise in the crowd? You ready? We're getting there. Well, the first map's going to be Cobblestone. Gambit Gaming versus Immortals here. The CT start for Gambit. We'll be starting momentarily as we jump into the server. This is a very special time of the year for Counter-Strike map. The Major Grand Final. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to get into it. Let's make some noise. The most passionate fans we have.
15,000 of you again today. Sold out once more. PGL is absolutely loving Poland. And I gotta say, I'm loving it too. We'll see how Gambit and Immortals feel about it because they get underway. 4 sets of armor, a kit for Dozia. Some Gambit Gaming on the CT side, obviously, therefore. KNG, Lucas, and Bolts are the ones equipped to go heavy hitting, but they've got a decent amount of utility for the Brazilians to start it off, and they're gonna head out toward B. Flash goes back in. Hobbit, as always, will play platform, and it's with the USP. He starts off, but gets taken down. Lucas with the opening kill of the final.
This is looking very good now, but they're stifled, trying to get off that platform. It's going to be Mo fighting back. The first USP headshot comes in, 4 and 4, but it's a brawl. The Brazilians are coming into the B. Bomb tie emphatically here, fighting every single frag. It's just Dosia, nothing you can do about it. And there it is, Immortals with a simple B-side attack, open things up, taking down the first B platform player. It looked like they potentially wouldn't get out at that point, but they just completely made their way through and took down every single frag required. 1-0.
Opening pistol stats have been very, very good for Immortals. Again, they win this. And watch the timing. As soon as they get in the site, we can't see it right now with X-Ray. KNG starts to push Ellie. That's exactly when Bolts went down drop. So it was a late play, and they were already committed to looking in the site. He was able to backstab one, and then Dozia had nowhere to hide.
Of course, Matt, we do have the force buy here from Gambit. We've got 5-7s, we've got Scouts and Deagles as well. Immortals pretty well equipped though, and it's going to be Bolts. This is a fast play. This is what Immortals used to really give away in a lot of these rounds against these force buys. Fast approach still at that B side. This is working out very nicely for them though. Only 2 players remaining. Adren, he goes down as well. Zeus with the CZ. This round's done. And we saw Immortals throughout this tournament look like a different team in terms of their anti-force buy approaches. They were very disciplined, very calm, running defaults. This is kind of old school Immortals here. They used to be one of the most deadly teams on the T side of Cobblestone. And we'll see if they can continue that today. Zeus in a 4 versus 1. Head armor as well, trying to get one frag here. Might get it, but still takes him down. 2-0 for Immortals. This is looking very promising indeed. 2 great rounds with 4 players survive.
4 players surviving, like you say, with speed. So they'll stay on the SMGs where applicable.
Yes, they will indeed. This has to be the full eco now for Gambit. Not really much they can do with this situation. The bad news is as well, we did have Mo, who's been sensational in this tournament as well, I have to say. He's fully committed to that the previous round. The AWP's going to be a bit of a struggle for him. If he can find a kill here, he might be able to bring out a glass cannon. We'll see as we get into round number 3. Should be more the same from Immortals. They can just rush B again if they want to. Nothing purchased on the CT side. 5 default pistols, no armor, no nades, and here comes Bolt, looking to farm some cash here with the MAC-10.
And he gets Hobbit off site. The rest are stacked up, walking in. A little bit careful, but they make it work. Everything going the way of Immortals. They don't look even slightly phased or unconfident.
Yeah.
Walking into the site. I gotta say, just as you mentioned Mo, to go back to the Gambit side of things, the same applies to Immortals. Jason said it on the desk. These 2 teams are peaking perfectly. They have had individual performances and team performances alike from all 5 players.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to see from Immortals. Normally known as a team that's got sensational firepower, but not so much in terms of the fundamental approach to Counter-Strike. They've completely changed that. They're looking like a solid unit right now. 3-0, and it's an advantage for them going into this round as well. They've got the bonus round here. 2 MAC-10s, a UMP to work with his here. It's another fast approach toward long A. Lucas leading the charge with the AK-47. CTs, 1 kit, little in terms of utility. The first frag will be coming in momentarily.
Mo's ready. Has to back off early, smoke down. No one at the bottom of mid, so he's got to be very careful because they can push around through danger. They don't even need to. KNG's got the shot early. Doesn't have to push anywhere. It was in the open, but he gets countered by Zeus, which will call for rotation. Adren's the one to get close. Zeus cannot watch the corner. They may rotate back into him, though. If he pushes through on this, Zeus, he could be in a perfect position. I don't think there's any need or necessity to do so.
Not right now. He doesn't really have much to work with here. 1 flashbang, he's going to tuck himself in towards the corner there. His teammate Adren watching towards long A, so he's protected in that sense, but these MAC-10s at close range can be very deadly. Luckily, Zeus has got head armor. He's supposed to check this. He upgrades his weapon. Now he has a chance to get the 1 bullet headshot with the AK.
Bullet headshot, but Zeus goes wide. Oh, they don't spawn each other yet. Pre-fires in. M4 should lose this duel, but because he got the early opener, he's able to take him down. Adren on the rotation, as we mentioned earlier, was watching long. That's where Zeus could not see. He's able to pick up a kill, but steals in between them. Finds Adren. If he didn't find Adren, there was no chance he'd find the second, but he does match Doji as well, as Henny Has to sit between two. Zeus and Hobbit have to play perfectly. High HP for Hobbit. He affords the fight. 3-1.
Yes, a round victory for Gambit though, but a hollow one. That was a bonus round for Immortals there. It came down to the 2v1 situation. The reinvestments for Gambit is going to be a big struggle going forward now. Immortals know it. They can still buy for sure. They can bring out orbs that they want to. Definitely not the same story for Gambit here. Huge round. 3-1. Gambit have to reinvest. They've got an AK-47 save from the previous round. That's in the hands of a Dren, who has also been completely lights out this tournament. And Dosia on the UMP. It's not a shocking buy, but it's not ideal. Lose this round, it's a double eco. They need to pick this one up, Gambit.
Hobbit's going to go back out toward Long B. They'll stay tight at the rock. 4 players inside of B if you include Doji at drop. He's going to watch the window. Steel's waiting for anyone to push through at B. Zeus isn't electing to do so yet, but Henny on the AWP, keep in mind, is over toward B to try and find an early pick. Probably the utility is not going to allow that. This is where you normally see the utility exchange as well. It's all about possession of this corner. But waits. Not quite in the Hobbit hole, but he goes to the archway, wants to be baited in by Mo. Baited in indeed! Oh, nearly misses the shot. Bomb gets dropped. Only manages one. Mo thankfully takes down KNG as well, but oversteps, and Lucas finds both of them on entry. Go toward the stairwell. Lucas wins that as well. Hat trick on the way through for Immortals. What an important round to win as well. You mentioned the bonus round. Put them in a perfect financial position. Zeus has already been spotted by one. Has to slow his pace as Doji gets back in line with the SMG. Has to get close. No one entered over the wall, no need to peek, just wait for them to drop in Mo. Or excuse me, Dosia says Zeus waiting, gets the first! Lines up 2 as he walks back out! And he's able to find the response immediately.
Bomb down though. Henny, 1v1 situation against the old veteran Zeus. He's got no flashbangs to work with. Zeus sits behind the statue, has to take the challenge, gets dinked in the process. Now it's Henny with the advantage, but time ticking away, 10 seconds. Can he find the frag? Surely he can! One bullet will do it, but he can't find him!
Gonna chase it all the way, 5 seconds. Zeus has to play sound, he's gotta play time, he's got to play time, he's going to! What a tense round, and Zeus will get away. You talk about smarts, you talk about brilliance. He's brought this team alive, and he uses his brain to win the round there. 3-2, Gambit survive.
Just perfect from Zeus. Getting dinked as well. He knows he can't take any more jewels, has to stay alive, notices the timer. Dancing around the tree position that point as well, and it's just to perfection. As soon as the timer runs out as well, he survives. And Lucas, it seemed like he'd done everything there. But Dosia, the double kill of the UMP, pretty much saves the round there. It's down to Zeus then, like you said, to use his smart to try and do what he can in the 1v1 situation. Look at it, cat and mouse there. 3-2, another buy available for Immortals to keep Gambit modest. And there's the first kill once again. It's a CD trying to work hard for these frags. The Dren goes aggressive towards that upper platform. Doesn't get anything for it, no damage inflicted. Gambit still on the ropes here. They had 3 UMPs in this round. Hobbit picks up the fallen M4. We go into a long A situation. It's Mo and Zeus to defend the A side. Make it just Zeus as Mo gets found by Henny.
Opener again there for Immortals. Just becoming a bit of an issue for Gambit. They're gonna have to be very cautious of that. Remember, even when Zeus was on board before the simple days on Cobblestone, it was not a Na'Vi map. They used to average about 4, maybe 5 rounds on the CT side. That's not a trend that Gambit have to deal with in this game. MG and Lucas get much closer to the entry point.
This is really nicely from Immortals. This is disciplined stuff. They got that 5-on-3. The CT is getting bled out right now. They're holding position. They still have 45 seconds as well, waiting for a mistake to be made. Immortals, this is their round to lose. You can see Gambit, they're fully rotated, they're committed to the A side. B is open, and that's exactly where Immortals are heading as well. KNG showing a little bit of presence there, smoking the connector. This is so good. What a call from Immortals. Playing this to perfection. Gambit will have no chance to retake this map. This round's done. Once a bomb goes down, they'll know. They can't go for the retake whatsoever. And I have to say, the little weaponry they have, I think they're saving already. They know it's over. Zeus, Dosia, and Hobbit go and tuck themselves in towards the A site. Perfectly played there from Immortals, and they knew it as well. They had a couple of unlucky situations there with the clutches, but overall, this has been a perfectly called round. And the hunt begins. KNG, he's not letting him get away without a fight here.
He's trying to isolate it by crouching down. Manages to get Doji, but Zeus still had an angle. It's not like they have tons of money left over after the very good start. The bonus round, KNG only has about 500 left in the bank, but obviously they're going to pick up the round, so they can afford to invest one person to chase. The rest will sit back and allow the M4s to be saved. Gambit, on the other hand, going into a third round loss bonus with not much money to work with.
Yeah, this could be their unraveling at this stage. Saving 2 weapons, they'll probably force around it. We know the money is not existent at this point, only getting $1,400 into the next round. Immortals extend the lead to 4-2, a very, very nice round. That's just textbook Counter-Strike there. Getting the map control, finding the pick, not giving too much away. They used to have a lack of discipline, I would say, this team. They would get the one pick and then fully commit. They're trying to over-swarm the bomb site and try and get that bomb down as quickly as possible. This is just classic Counter-Strike there. Holding up, waiting for the CTs to make mistakes, bleeding out their utility, and walking into an open bomb site. Doesn't get much better than that. And as I said, the CTs probably will try and force around this situation. 3 UMPs come out, 2 saved M4s. They do have a few smoke grenades to work with here, but 1 kip. The Immortals know the force play is very likely of those 2 saved rifles, but it's up to Henny now to open up the map once again. It's on the AWP.
Toward long, he's been excellent on entry so far in this game. Again, more proof to the fact that they've got all strings working on the bow. The harp's in tune. The bales. Quick peek towards smoke. Shots fired, and that's fine. Fielder there. It's about time control. Nice nade in return.
Yeah, it's doing some decent damage. We know Cobblestone throughout this tournament has been quite impressive with HE grenades. We get into round number 7 here. Really to report as of yet, but decent map control from Immortals. Looking good. Mo got his work cut out from him. Completely blind, does some damage, but that's all he'll do, and they'll make their ascension towards the A-bomb site here.
Entry and opening again. That's what it's working. That's how it's working for Immortals. Good trade back KNG as he continues on. Another great shot. Doja has to rotate, switch from the SMG to the AK. Still got a reasonable chance with bolts down there in a 3 versus 2, but bomb planted, no kits and no utility to work with. The call has to be made early if they go or not.
Even if they say they can't really force around this, they might as well try and see what they can do. Is there anything available? Just an opening would do.
Gambit's going to try and slip through with the SMG. I'm not sure Henny spotted him. Doesn't even matter. Goes back. Whether he did's not inconsequential. This from Doja will be retreat. Like you said, they won't be able to buy, but really 1 versus 3 AK, you might as well at least save something because it's not like he's going to be able to pull anything off. So another great round from Immortals, 5-2. Starts in these matches have been their things. On this stage especially, they have had great starts to pretty much every game we've seen them in.
Yeah, I'm becoming a big fan, especially KNG as well. This is his first major. He's come out of nowhere, Matt. What a performance he's had in this tournament especially, and in the grand final. Doesn't seem to be phased whatsoever. Causing chaos there with the AK-47. He makes his way towards the A site. Gambit were even stacked there as well. They had 3 players ready to go, but getting out-dueled. They had lesser weaponry, and they do save the AK-47 Gambit. That's in the hands of Dosia, but it's 5-2. And I think the pause comes in. Of course, it's tactical for Gambit. Let's work out what's going on here. What's the adjustment? We can't buy into this round, but maybe a player like Dosia, he gets aggressive. So maybe boost him up and towards drop down, go for that first pick. I think that's pretty much your only option with an AK. You could go and face towards the upper platform, but you're likely to run into the AWP. So it's a chance to work out what they can do here. We need to get that AWP out from Mo, especially. That's what we need to see. And their financial situation has not been great so far. Still very early days, though. As we enter round number 8, the unpause comes in. Have a look at the scoreboard quickly. We're going to have KNG, of course, 8 kills, 3 deaths. Top player for Gambit is Zeus, who's had that very important clutch situation. So nothing really invested into this round from Gambit. A few HE grenades, some smokes as well. Going to be interested to see what Dosia does. He does go towards drop down, but not boosted up, and this looks like the B rush once again. That's been successful for Immortals, but it can fall apart very quickly. We're going for a few set-piece smokes as well, but here comes the commitment.
Boost up for Doja, good position this time, goes back out! There's 3 letters in sex, and he's the god of all 3 kills. Bolts, he's gonna wrap back around and do what he can. Tags go through, it's Doja down to 19. But the round is in the favor of Gambit. Henny continuing on with the T side of the AWP. They're locked out for now, but the HP's low enough. Immortals have been impressive. Doja's up to 4. Not quite going to get the ace. Henny's pulled it back 1-on-1. Both kills in the sight, bombs in his hands. It may still favor him because Gambit has to get in a better position. He has the HP advantage. They're both on AKs, back off to the angle, and Henny clutches it back with 4 of his own.
What a round that was. How has Dozier pulled off 4 kills? They had 1 AK-47 into that one. You think he's done it. That's surely it. But Henny, known as the AWPer, steps up there with the AK-47, pulls it back in favor of Immortals, 6-2. This is going to be a good grand final. 2 very skilled teams on the server right now. It's going to be electrifying, and it's Dozier. What a spray down. We said he could get boosted up. He does, this time towards the tree position. Perfect spray control, but it wasn't enough. They get a bye into round number 9 here, but UMP's out once again. But Mo, more importantly, he's got the AWP. No kits available for Gambit, and more fast-paced gameplay here.
The single AKs being carried over in this tournament might be the most success rate we've ever seen. We saw it yesterday for Immortals against Virtus Pro in a very, very important round on Mirage. We saw it for Simple in the group stages for Navi on Train. We nearly saw it for Gambit, but Immortals hold true and take a lead 6-2. Fast play again, by the way. They were just getting Dozier into a position to counter, and they're already through the smokes that were deployed.
Absolutely. That's why I always say try and go for those defaults. When you know a weapon's up and they're going to be eco, just try and work out where it is instead of running into a potential stack. Dozier, fantastic work, but not quite enough. It's all gone quiet now. The Immortals back towards B, Molotov towards drop down. Dozier just have to fall back. Like we said, no kits and almost no utility. About 1 incendiary left, that's it. A flashbang as well, but Henny finds the shot. Takes down Dozier, 5-on-4 with time remaining as well.
Back in for Henny, pre-scoped. No stopping the man. Gandalf might have, but Hobbit can't. Good shot back from O. You mentioned the AWP. Steel puts it down already, though. That opens the sight again for Immortals, and he's got a shot over the top. Zeus at least upgrades onto an AK. He has a better chance. The 1 versus 2, but he goes in quick. Steel's ready for that as well.
This is looking like a very one-sided affair now. Immortals have turned up the play. The money's just not getting going at all for Gambit. Every round they win, they're getting shut down. Has to be another eco here. They can have a partial buy. In terms of loss bonus, it's maximum next round. So they can bring out 5.7s, P250s, Deagles. That's probably about it. Maybe some body armor here or there, but you have to say the Brazilians are firing on all cylinders right now. Henny with some amazing rounds. KNG as well. Henny's currently on 11 kills. And I believe 1 death as well. Yeah, he's playing. He's turning up. We'll get into round number 10. 7-2 in favor of Immortals on the T side of Cobblestone. The Eagles are out. Zeus with the body armor, no nades to work with. But Dozier, decent angle with the Deagle. And Henny opens things up once again.
Immortals are doing such good work again early to put themselves in a really unreachable position. ANG trying to start it. Decent shot, Dozier. Let's not get too carried away. They still only have the pistols. The guns are so far out of reach they cannot upgrade. Smoke down on the alley. Oh, Tink again on Bolt. Insignificant from that range. Bolt's able to spray back despite the vision. Dozier wants into smoke. The smoke will cost him. He goes through, and Zeus down as well. Immortals slow the pace when needed. They have been playing fast against the Indigos. You mentioned they were struggling to do that in the tournament. Now they're slowing it down as soon as they lose 2 kills to make sure they don't get carried away.
Yeah, it's looking brilliant, but now finally things starting to stabilize for Gambit. They can bring out the AWP, they can bring diffuse kits, a full array of utility as well. That's what we needed here. This team doesn't usually fall back to the double AWP setup, so I don't think we'll be seeing much of that from them. Hobbit, at one point was looking like one of those exciting players in CSGO. We'll see if he can step up here. Hasn't really shown much in this grand final as of yet, but still early days. 8-2. Bolton still. They're hunting towards the upper platform. Still looking aggressive. Flashbang goes in. He wants this pick, but he can't find it. Hobbit shuts him down. It's a 5-on-4. Finally, advantage for Gambit here.
Good shot back, Lucas, to control it. Gambit still in a position, though, with Mo on the AWP at long. Change of pace from having him toward B early on. Henny nearly spotted him. He might be, in terms of start to finish of the event, hold my thought. Good shot from Dozier. He holds the angle, holds, good backstab, looks the wrong way, Mo's got the kill. They may have a round, but they need to keep everyone alive. Shake hands, boys, we're all friends. They've lost track of each other ever so slightly. That puts Henny behind, but a missed shot. A missed shot and Dozier to capitalize. I was going to say Henny might be the most improved player from the start of this event to where we are right now. In the group stages, he looked slow, but he's looked incredible in the last 2 series.
Yeah, it was timed as well. He's known as the main AWPer for Immortals, but he had to give up that role because KNG was just outshining him in every single aspect, and he did look very quiet, but today, He's turning up. He's currently on 13 kills, 2 deaths, but that's a lovely round by Gambit. Just about holding on there after getting the first frag. It's Mo, of course. It's Immortals trying to show presence towards B. They're suggesting we're rushing it once again. Steel gets flashed in, a couple of smokes deployed, but he got taken down. And at that point, Gambit more than happy to keep players towards the A side of the map, and they pick up their 3rd round. Not a huge chance of a full reset here. It wouldn't be as devastating as before, but certainly not ideal. Double orb does come out for Adren. There with Mo, and they go towards B once again. A simple execution. More smokes will be deployed. Off the bat, the set piece. Could fall back with this one, you know. Don't have to fully commit, but they go towards drop down.
Get in there though. Bolt's quick to take down Zeus. Again, the opener for Immortals. Good response for Mo though to hold off to make sure the connector's not lost. Hobbit. He might need to disappear. Put on the Precious, but he's not invisible long enough because Henny's able to pop back out and detect. Apparition eyes for Doja as he gets through the edge of the smoke. Steal found. Doja's having a great game as well. Looks for more. Tags Henny. Needs to be aware that KNG's still inside of the site. He's going to go looking for him. Mo just needs to hold an angle on the AWP. He's going to try. And it'll be toward the wall because he knows that as well, the AWP, Henny, is in the same position. It's in the position and he's found it. Good read. Nearly gets set for the other. But it's the king to clutch. And he will do just that. Doja walks into it. 9 for Immortals.
Huge performance from KNG once again. Immortals, that is looking so good right now. The execution, I love that. All the smokes going in, the flashbangs as well, and they send 3 players back towards the drop down. Did you see how blind that player was waiting for them as well? Got completely wrecked. They go for the connector, they're holding off the rotations, and it's up to Dozier. Like he said, he's having a great game, but he can't do enough at this point. We have to go into another force buy situation for the CTs. We did say the reset wouldn't be as destructive as it was before. It's still not great. 2 M4s. A UMP and a shotgun coming out for Zeus. Desperate times, call for desperate measures. We'll see where this does anything for them. Lose this one, it's going to be 10-3, and they potentially don't have money for the rest of this half.
Not had much time to sit back and let the play materialize in this. It's been so high-paced as we expected between these two teams, but this round a lot slower.
It will slow down when Gambit on the T side. Guarantee that.
Yes. Yes, that's a CIS special, that one is.
They might not have a chance to make a dent at this rate. No kits, no smokes, no incendiaries. A couple of flashbangs and a decoy. That's all Gambit have to work with here. Slow and methodical stuff from Immortals so far. Full default bombs down in the B halls. Lucas working towards long A. That's going to be a key duel over there. Mo waiting on the other side. Here it comes. Can Lucas find this pick? Doesn't want to fully commit just yet. As he falls back, we might have to focus towards the B side.
Lucas will again go toward long. It'll be conceded early. There's not much toward A at all if they just make a straight contact. 30 seconds. Mo is all that is here, and Mo's gonna have to be perfect. Good pre-fire on angle from Lucas, excuse me. And he enters therefore, and it might be an early call. Might have to, because they don't have the site. The problem is even if they make the early call, they're gonna have bolts close enough by with, well, he's only got $50. That's the other bizarre part of this, by the way. Get one quick kill. It's the Hobbit pistol to try and run out and ascertain if they are trying to flank. But that's the crazy thing, that the money has been actually quite honest. It's just that they can never get that second round in to break them. Every time they get close or whittle them down, they just don't get the ensuing round, then Immortals jump right back out to a lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Immortals this time, another slow default. They know that the Gambit economy was going to be weak, trying to ascertain what kind of weaponry they really have there. Going towards long A, Lucas slowly but surely got to the end. He gets that first pick, calls the A sides open, and Gambit, they have no choice but to save. You need utility to retake the A bomb site, especially when you have the map disadvantage as well. You're going to attempt that. You need defuse kits, and they just didn't have either. And 3 weapons save for Gambit, but still, things looking pretty bleak. Immortals playing out of their minds right now. Top fraggers at the moment. Bolts, he had another great tournament. He's been fantastic in this major campaign. Ever since the minor to the qualifier itself and getting to this event, been so consistent for them. Really developed as a player since we saw him playing for Luminosity.
Let's not forget to reflect back on Immortals' journey even into the playoffs. In a 2-1 matchup, they played against SK.
Yep.
And we were thinking to ourselves, okay, again, SK. Then, and I'm going to take this phrase again, they're no longer the baby brother, but at the time, still the team everyone was favoring in this event. Immortals, they just finally made it to a major. SK did beat them quite convincingly. We weren't even sure Immortals were going to make the playoffs, and then they take down a number of incredible teams. Big was on a run, Immortals best them. Virtus Pro at home in front of all of these fans, Immortals best them. And now Gambit, the team that sits at 7-1, who took down Astralis, are struggling against what I would call just firepower at this point.
And a great approach as well. There's a great mixture of pace. Very slow defaults, fast set pieces, fast commitments in terms of rushes as well. They keep mixing it up, and Gambit just can't get comfortable here. It's round number 14, the closing sectors of the first half. Looks like that fast pace is coming in once again, but it works against KNG this time. Mo with the pistol gets him the advantage. And he might be able to get the rifle as well. I don't think it's in his reach as he takes a nade to the face.
Back off for Mo because the flame's too hot. It's over. Can't quite land the headshot. He was correct on his anticipation of angle. Won't go off the drop room. That'll control and contain for a moment longer. Still the man advantage despite not having the weapons.
They're trying to get that rifle in towards the drop down position. They know they need it. Mo has managed to get boosted up. Hasn't found it just yet. Low HP, surely dealt with. A couple of frags for Immortals. Make it 3. It's all starting to fall apart once again for Gambit. It's going to be the AK-47 for Dosia and Adren on the M4. One kit, no nades, and this is the play. Can he do anything with it? Apparently not. It's going to be round number 11 for Immortals, guaranteed at this point. Dosia at the upper platform has to try and do something with this one. He needs to start posting rounds on the board here.
Back to a good read. Bomb. I take it back. It's not going to go all the way around. 35 seconds. They're just going to push in. They know Doge is definitely in the site somewhere. And the boost up a drop. Even though they had the man advantage, they didn't have the guns and pistols, so they wanted to still take the fight. Fortunately, this time Immortals, as I mentioned, when they are up against San Diego, slow down after losing the man. I'll get another round. Surprised not to see more timeouts, by the way.
Just to notice what we commented this yesterday, if you remember Immortals when they first got on the stage, how emotional and passionate they were, jumping out of their seats, they looked so calm. They said to themselves, like we've spoke to Zach, the coach, is saying, like, we know we're not going to win games like that. Sure, it might help us at the time, but when things go wrong, we need to be calm. We want a slow-paced gameplay as well. Everyone has to know their role and playing with discipline.
I think that as much had to do with responding to Big as well. A lot of knives in that game, a lot of nade damage. It was a brawl. We know Tabson and Lagia love to taunt. So I think that was just literally going back and forth with Big. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's round number 15, man. Looking for 12-3, and as we said, Gambit, fantastic T-sided team, but they might not have a chance to even show us what they're made of on that side. Likely to be 12-3, they lose a pistol, this could be a very, very quick game. The first map of the grand final here, the Major. Gambit up against the ropes here. They've got 3 UMPs, 2 pistols. Round number 15, Immortals. Once again, just dissecting the map. Been so good at this. Baiting on that CT utility, and once again, it's non-existent. 1 incendiary. They just haven't had a stable economy throughout this first map.
Bolts is going to go, but could overstep Hobbit's close position. He's been tagged considerably, so too is Steel. If they push through, there's a crossfire set, but Hobbit able to slide up the wall. Could surprise them all. KNG especially, who doesn't have a gun drawn. Finds for kill, wants the gun, but gets a little bit too tunneled and zoned in toward it. Catches him out.
Got some good damage in those, so still a 4-on-4, which technically favors the T-side, and even more so with the current buys, but still 52 HP, Bolts 27, as they start their contact play towards the B side, up to the drone with the UMP. Defensive position, not fully committing, has to cause damage here.
Ren wants to swing out, perfectly times it. No kill from Steel, in fact, took damage. Not worse for wear in the initial exchange, not to mention the second, but the twins again step up. Henny and Lucas finding kills. Down to Zeus and Mo, both of which are on UMPs, one of which is on a flank. He's made the flank work. Mo finds the kill. Henny's in the open, they know it. Mo's picked up an AK, but he has to get Lucas first. He knows he's gonna be faced off by Lucas. Has the tighter angle. Whoa-wee, risky on the movement, risky on the play, and Henny with the fast snap to the left. He's gonna put Immortals on 12-3 at half.
We said Henny's had a quiet tournament. But in the grand final, in the first half, he drops 18 frags, clutches out the last round as well. He's died 3 times. How nuts is that? Henny has been amazing here. We said KNG's been the MVP for Immortals, but so far, Henny, he has stepped up. He's delivered something world-class here. Gambit, looking at 6s and 7s right now. They don't really know what they can do about this situation. Lose this pistol, this map's over. It won't be happening. And Matt, I've spotted something quite interesting here towards the pistol. We've got some Julies out, but maybe that's the reason we might have a pause. Are we okay? We're okay. It's fine. The Julies are going to be committed. I was about to say, surely they're not going to be used, but they are going to be used. Here we go.
2 is better than 1. That's what I've always said, Henry.
It's true.
Sometimes 4. Mo goes out toward long with the dualies in hand.
I don't get this at all. It's the first time in a major final we've had dualies, I think.
All the way around the corner. Dualies gonna have to be aggressive. Doja's got 1. Dualies can be aggressive, jumping and firing. 2 back in sight though, and Steel's got first kill. What is the 3rd one? Because he doesn't even need to. He's got his teammate there to peek him beside. Bolts does nothing. And Henny pops out to close it. Steel shuts them down. And you mentioned the pistol being the end. Well, it might be indeed. 13-3. And momentum for the CT side.
1 lifeline left. I'm sure all CSGO fans know how deadly the Tech-9 can be. Along with the Desert Eagle as well, this force fight does come in. It's not over just yet. They can squeeze this round out just about, but it's unlikely. But still, everyone seems to be performing for Immortals right now. This 5-man unit seems to be getting better and better as the tournament gets through. And Zeus
knows
like,
it.
why are we buying Julies, guys? Why are we doing this? You got 1 kill, I guess, but you just end at the range at that point. It's an interesting decision, but there you go. And we're gonna have a long air rush here from Mo. Trying to take down Lucas, but I don't think he'll get this kill. Yeah, taken down. 5-on-4. This could be a very quick first map of the best of 3.
Very different teams. The 2nd time Zeus has played against a Brazilian in their first final. Columbus, they got battered and bruised, and he's faring no better here on map 1.
Just a note as well, this is of course Immortals pick. We do move on the train as well, where Gambit should feel more at home.
You're gonna have to feel more at home.
Yeah, well, more than this.
Mention. Gambit did beat Astralis on train, but not to mention we go to Inferno, which yes, both teams have had success on, but Immortals took down big and have been playing very fast on the map. Virtus Pro had struggles. Back into the pistol for Doja. The Deagle, that is. Couldn't find the shot. Lucas gets it instead. Zeus next in line. Oh, he so nearly gets a kill. Steel and Lucas both go low, but KNG's got the top of the ramp. 3 kills for him. 2 to go.
Almost guaranteed at this point. Immortals haven't missed a beat whatsoever. 14-3. We did say Gambit, they could stand a chance on the T side. Zeus's teams historically, especially in Na'Vi, they were T-sided specialists on this map alone. You remember, Na'Vi used to get 5 rounds on Cobblestone, and then they'd be lights out on the T side because the tactics were so strong. Him in particular, he was always very good on this map, but I don't think we'll get a chance to see that kind of performance. They have to force buy once again. It's not ideal. And the financial turmoil for Gambit continues. It just haven't been established in this map, and Immortals completely shutting them down in every facet of the game. Deagles, Tech-9s, sure there's armor, but a couple of smokes and flashbangs, that's about all they have to work with. Immortals know how tantalizingly close they are to closing this game out. No mistakes now, no aggression, let's just hold up, get the crossfires established. Do not give anything away to these Deagles.
And shots in, Doja's tagged as well. Starts it, takes down a Dren. Knew that he was in the corner, didn't know if he wanted to overcommit to the peak or not, but still managed to make it work. By the way, he's intentionally waiting out toward the statue at T. He's going to head toward B's pawn, or excuse me, B tunnels now, Doja. They're losing men elsewhere. He's hoping maybe there'll be an opening, someone rotating around, he can catch the kill and then go get the plant, but that doesn't look likely at this point in time. Or 5 versus 2, KG, excuse me, is still alive on 17, which is more than Doja has.
This has just been clinical. I can't tell you many mistakes Immortals have made, if any. It's been a perfect performance so far. Gambit, I don't have a response. It's going to be Dosia and Mo, low HP. The Eagles out, but one of that's gone. It's going to be Dosia now with the Tech-9. Surely this is map point, indeed it is. Immortals have looked too strong.
Yeah, absolutely. A challenger team. Interestingly enough, I had a conversation, I think it was with Anders in Cologne, saying, I think this could be the first time we have a challenger team go all the way through.
Yeah.
I was speaking maybe more about Cloud9's performance in Cologne, more specifically maybe G2, who had to go back down. I did not expect this, and this is absolutely incredible. They're about to go up 1 map. I need just 1 more.
Yeah, it's been a masterclass of Counter-Strike. We'll break it down after this round, but still, it's desperate once more. Gambit, maybe just a B-rush here. The Eagles, Tech-9s, trying to do what they can. Push through the fire, hope for the best. Henny to defend.
And he gets to the corner. Perfectly positioned. If they were to drop through, which they do, down goes Adren. He slips behind once more, but Doja's aware. Tech9s are actually accumulating kills. Hobbits found another as Mo trades back. It's ball planted, headshot onto Lucas. Now they've got a real chance with that damage as well, but they themselves are not exactly perfect for life. Nade being thrown, Mo knew he had a chance to capitalize, and KNG can't hit the shot on the op. We're not done yet, Gambit's got life. But a very, very marginal life at that.
15-4, it's going to take 11 rounds in a row. No mistakes at this point from Gambit. But the bad news is they haven't exactly broken the economy of Immortals. Double orbs coming out, and that's when they've been the absolute best on these CT sides. Henny, KNG, what a formidable duo that's going to be. Do Gambit have what it takes to get any deeper into this game? I think this one's done, I'm going to call it now, but it's good for Gambit to accumulate some rounds. They'll get warmed up on the stage, try and get the bigger names fragging, and see if Dren, he can find something here. He's been great for this tournament. He's currently on 5 for 17. He's just dropped off into his obscurity here. Has to start stepping up so that he can get like 5 rounds in a row at this point. Let's get his confidence back. They might be looking good for Trey.
Something we've mentioned before, players just getting rounds alive, getting some kills on the board to make sure that they have that confidence that you speak of, but a lot of time to do it. Mo's gonna get KNG back. Still just 2 left to find. It may go down to just 1. Steel has a Dren. It's all onto Mo for Immortals to take map 1. Convincingly, anticlimactically in some ways, if you're on the Gambit side of things. Down, no one directly watching it. They don't need to. They can afford to watch sites instead. Takes no chance in smoking it off and a flash through as well. But if he thinks he's clever to outrun them, given that they'd be circling the bomb, not right on his anticipation. Got one over toward B no matter where he goes at this point in time, so back to A instead.
All versus 1. Mo trying to keep the dream alive. Gives his position away by shooting a dead corpse there, and that should be it. Lucas, it's been a masterclass of Counter-Strike for Immortals there. 22 frags for Henny. KNG not far behind either. They just didn't make a single mistake there. It's one of the most perfect games of CS I've seen. They used to be so dominant on the T-side of Cobble. It's dropped off in recent months, but they're back. Looking better than ever. A mixture of fast-paced gameplay, set pieces, methodical defaults as well. Every decision just seemed on point. The calls are amazing. And commiserations to Gambit in that first map. They just couldn't get rolling there whatsoever. If you think back to the rounds they actually won map, it was against the bonus round and the Mac 10s are out, and then Zeus in that 1v1 with like 1 second remaining with like 10 HP.
Yeah,
so that's all they really got in that first half.
Yeah, exactly that. And no control early in the rounds, no early picks that were sustainable, got shut down. I mean, again, you point out Henny, and rightfully so. Incredible game, but Steel, second pistol, 3 amazing kills, and you've got to credit Lucas, because every time he seemed to enter at B long, he made it work.
He did.
The one round they did lose, unfortunately, which came down to the one-on-one, he got 3 kills in that one as well. So even when they weren't winning, he was still finding frags in that sense. Very, very good to see this much performance out of so many players on one team. Even some of the best performances we've seen from history teams, you don't see this much firepower show up at once.
Yeah, that's what I've always said about Immortals. Sure, they've got firepower, they've got talent, but it's the overall package that's looked weak in the past. They didn't have the basic fundamentals down. The strategy wasn't really there. The defaults didn't really make sense to me, but that's all changed. The hard work's paid off. I think this major campaign they've had, as we saw them with the minor, the qualifier as well, they seem to be getting better and better as those tournaments went through. And what a time to peak at the major in the grand final. Playing like this, if Gambit don't wake up in the next map, it's going to be a clean 2-0. That's one of the best performances I've seen in quite a while.
Absolutely. This could be done very, very quickly. We're done on the desk, at least for now. We're going to send it back over to the panel with Paul.
A demonstrative performance from the Brazilians in the opening game. They've certainly come to play, haven't they, in the grand final. Gambit need to step up if they're going to make this a longer grand final, and we're back with Yanko and Moses to break that first map down. Not an awful lot you can break down, though.
No, I wish there was some kind of like tactical way to explain why they were so dominant, but I mean, easily when it comes down to it, no one showed up for Gambit. It was like Doja for the majority of the game was the only player having impact. No one else was there with them, and then before you know it, you've snowballed out of control. I mean, yes, it was nice, obviously, when you have an opera like Henny. We talked about him and his inconsistencies. Boltz had a good game. He had 108 ADR. Lucas had another good game. And when you have all this, it wasn't anything special that was being done tactically. They were just so good at trading, so good at finding openings, and eventually it just like gets away from Gambit because they don't have economy to do anything. And then by the end of it, you could see they're so disheartened and they've kind of lost the morale. They've kind of lost their composure. composure, and everyone's trying to make more plays, except they're making those plays into the op that's already on fire of Henny, and everything just kind of slid out of their control. But it has to be said, like, where's Adren, where's Hobbit? Like, these are the guys that need to be here for Gambit.
Absolutely. I mean, also when you look, this reminded me a little bit of the Immortals Virtus Pro Inferno game, because Immortals win pistol, 3-0 start, Gambit wins 2 rounds in a row after that, very, very close rounds, so their economy is still in danger, and Immortals with a force buy behind the saved AWP of Henny managed to win that round, and that breaks completely Gambit's economy. And I agree with Jason, you know, at the end it comes down to individual performances, in a sense that, you know, Dosha is able to get maybe 2 kills with first contact on B towards that platform, and then, you know, his team just isn't there to follow up. They lose the next duel or 2 duels, and after that Henny gets posted up with the AWP, and, you know, after that, it's a very, very difficult situation for Gambit to come back into.
We haven't had many blowouts at this major. It's been very, very competitive all the way through. You often see both teams getting to double figures, regardless of whether one team's more favoured than the other. I think 16-2 against Vegas Squadron, Virtus Pro in the opening group stage was about the biggest we've had. That's the second highest victory we've had, and it happens in the grand final.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I mean, one thing I was about to say before we were so rudely interrupted by the start of the grand finals was that what are the maybe tricks there is for the Immortal side on Cobble is the fact that, yes, it was so good for Gambit. This was one of their dominant maps, but they'd only played it twice in the past 3 months, just because they generally don't get allowed to play it. So this could be a map where they just thought they were so good and kind of let it slip through, and maybe they're a bit rusty on it. But I don't even think it would have necessarily mattered with the level that everyone came into. It's about individual performances, but not someone going crazy. It's the fact that they just were absent.
I mean,
hold that thought a second. Let's just bring up the scoreboard and show you that. It's presented by Boomio, and it'll show you exactly where the frags went in this particular game. Sorry, Yanko, carry on.
I mean, also the fact that no one on Immortals had, you know, the lowest was still with 75 ADR. That's still very, very high. 3 players over 90. The Immortals had a clear game plan. You know, they did a good job on the T side with running some set pieces and having some slower strats and so on. But at the end of the day, it was the fact that they were getting the entry kills every single time that made everything look so easy. You know, you have that one round also towards A, for example, where Mo is just falling back and Lucas by himself is creeping up towards A holes, and he gets that kill on him in stables, and that breaks the round. You know, that one kill, simply because the rest of the team is in no position to rotate. Immortals did a good job of rotating back to A from B, and Gambit's forced to save.
We mentioned our MVP, which we'll show you in just a second at the start of the show, as a man that sometimes doesn't show up, but definitely showed up in the first game. Our MVP for game number 1 is Henny on the AWP.
Yeah, this guy loves Poland, and I think one of the great things is something that suits his style of opping very, very well, and is on this map, is that B platform. Like Keiko mentioned, once his team gets him secured in that position in a post-plan situation with his op at that box on platform, he's so strong. This is like, that's where he likes. He likes the peaks on each side of the boxes. He likes being aggressive. He can take those peaks and find cover very, very quickly. Very fast firing speed as well. So whenever he got into that position, it almost felt like he was unstoppable. Like you just couldn't get him out of there.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go too far away, though, because we're going to get more thoughts from Moses and Yanko after the break as we head into game number 2 and see whether Gambit can get back on even terms. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the PGL Major Krakow 2017, and welcome to the grand final. It is finally here after 8 days of competition. We've had just about everything, haven't we? A little bit of controversy, some drama, and surprises aplenty. We have the surprise final as well. Gambit Gaming, or Gambit Esports as they like to be called now, versus Immortals, going head-to-head over 3 maps in front of a capacity crowd, and I'm sure they'll be cheering despite the fact that they did lose the crowd favourites yesterday. Talking of which, let's take a trip down memory lane to day 2.
Previously on the PGL Major Krakow 2017.